Today we are going to be creating a Google form. I like to use Google Forms mostly for surveys and quizzes, but there are several different ways you can use them. To create a Google form, you click Create, and you can go to Form, and it pops up here. Now, depending on your district, you may have different options up here at the top. The first option, allow users to edit responses. This means once they're done, they're able to go back in. I always have students double check their work before they hit submit, so I never leave this checked off because once they've hit submit, I want them to be able to move on to the next assignment. I do require them to have their Newton Public Schools login to view the form, and I do require that they automatically collect respondents' usernames. This just helps me to track who's using the form. So up here at the top where it says Untitled Form, this is where you can put in your title, and you can put in some general directions in this box here. Now below, they started you off with a couple of questions. These are just sample questions and they're supposed to help you get started. Over here you have your different options for the questions. The pencil is the edit button, so you can edit what's in your question. The double boxes is to duplicate a question, and then the trash can is to delete it or get rid of it. For my first question, I always ask the students to type your first and last name. The reason that I always have them type their name, even though I collect their user IDs, is because their user IDs don't include their names. And so it's a lot easier for me to track their work if I have their first and last name. I have the different options of different types of answers that they can do. Since I'm having them type something short, I'm just going to choose text. And I'm going to make this a required question. Whenever I'm giving a quiz, I make sure that they are all required questions. That means that they won't be able to hit the submit button without answering that question. If it is some sort of survey, sometimes they're optional questions, and that's the only time that I will leave that box unchecked. So now I'm ready to move on to my next question. So I'm going to click Edit down here, and I'm going to call this one Multiple Choice Question Number 1. So this is actually the box where I would actually type the question in. Down here under question type, I'm going to choose multiple choice. And it gives me a spot to write my answers. So I'm actually going to put in always, sometimes, and never as my options. These are common options that you use when you're giving a survey, or it might even be options that I give at the end of a particular book in response to how many times they used a particular strategy. Now if I look over here, this is a perfect opportunity to use the duplicate button because I might have several questions that have the same choices. So if I click duplicate, you'll notice the same question appears below, and I can just type in my new question and I already have my options listed. I need to make sure that these are required questions, which is great. So already I have 3 questions filled in on my form. Now, something I do want to point out to you is next to multiple choice, it gives you the option to go to a page based on an answer. Now this is excellent for differentiation, especially if this is being used as a pre-assessment or some sort of pre-lesson. So you give them a question. Based on their answer, they might go to a particular page that's more challenging or one that might explain more of the basics of that particular thematic unit that you're trying to teach. So far we have 3 questions, and now it seems that we have run out of space because there are no more questions to add in. That's when we go up here to Add Item, and we can add in any type of question that we would like. We can also add in a new section header or a new page break. I use page breaks a lot because students very often get overwhelmed with a lot of questions on one page, and a lot of times it helps to break them up. So maybe this new section will be called Short Answers. I'll put some brief directions in the box below, and then I can start adding questions. Now maybe I wanted this question to actually go on to the next page. So all I have to do is click on that question, and I can drag it and drop it where I want it to go. So you can put things in the order in which you would like them. So that helps to organize and create your form. Now once you are done creating all of your questions, up here at the top where it says theme, you can choose the type of theme that you'd like to use. My kids most look forward to this part of taking a quiz because they never know what theme I'm going to choose. And they give you a lot of different options. You could have it linked to a particular book that you're reading in class or a particular season. So maybe I want them to think about spring. So I'm going to choose this theme and click apply. And now my theme has been chosen. I have all of my questions, and as you can see, my work has automatically been saved up here. So down here at the bottom, this is actually the link that I'm going to share with my students. So right now I am copying my link. I highlight the whole thing, and then I copy it. And there are a couple different ways I can share that link with my students. I can either paste it onto a class website where all of my students click on the link and it brings me right to the form, or I can go back to my drive, hit create and document, and then put click here to take your quiz. I can highlight here and link it to a web address, and I paste my link right in. So whenever a student clicks on that link, it takes them right to the form. So I can title this Today's Quiz, hit OK. I can go to Share and decide how I want to share it. If I already have my class lists imported, I can just type in the name of my class list and share it that way. I can go up here. As of right now, it's private to only the people that I share it with. But if I change that to anyone with the link, I can click Save and copy this link and either email it to my students or post it on a website. So there are a lot of different options and ways that you can share it. If you want to look at the finished product, here's what it looks like. So I'm going to click on my link, and here's my quiz. I have my general directions. I've already signed in, which is why I'm already signed in. And then I can type my first and last name, submit my answers, hit continue, and here's my final page. And I'm hitting submit, which means my responses have now been recorded. So every student will submit their responses, and then the teacher gets them. So to see what your students have done, you go back in, and mine didn't come up right away. So I'm going to call it, I'm going to type in title, because that's what I called it. And here it is. If I click on title, I'll see all of my students' responses. And I can make these rows as big or as small as I want. They will list all of my students' responses below. Now there are a couple different ways that you can organize student responses that I'll show you in the next clip.